Hello. Hello, hello. Hello. Hi, Serenity. How are you? Hi, Kristen. How are you feeling? I haven't heard much from you. You okay? How's the baby doing? I'm tired, man. This is gonna be rough. Just a heads up. I think the last couple months of streams I've usually been a wreck. I gotta do something about that. I don't know what, but I gotta do something about that. It's going. Well, that's positive. That's a positive thing. You got what, another week or so until they're here? Yeah? Are you excited or are you kind of full of dread? I suppose that might make Christmas for you more complicated, huh? You're ready to not be pregnant anymore? I could totally understand that. I've always thought 9 months just sounded like a really long time. Like, I try to compare it to, say, 9 months ago. What was I doing? Granted, I don't remember, for one thing, but I mean, that's just a long time. That's a little shy of a year, you know. That's a long time. To be in any state, you know. Okay. I know there's some people that actually enjoy being pregnant too. I've known a couple, and I gotta say, I don't understand that, because they seem like they're outliers, because typically it seems like women don't like being pregnant for very long. So, I don't know. Let's do a button. Jeez, Ashley, draw a circle. Come on. Nope. It's not happening. Since I haven't been on in 2 weeks, how have you guys been? Any big news? It gets old. Yeah, I could see that. Is it mainly like the swelling side of things, or... I don't like this at all. There goes my Cintiq. I never use these little buttons on the sides that they give me. I've never used these. Sometimes I'll accidentally touch one and it'll zoom in and out like crazy. There we go. Oh God, no thank you. You'd think that'd be like constant exercise, yeah? Isn't that why like pregnant women are always tired? But like you're eating a lot, right? Because of the kids, so it's not like you actually get to lose weight, but you're still doing a ton of work. F that. I feel like that's the state I'm in right now. I can't lose a damn thing. I've been trying. How did the con go? The con was good. I I feel really positive about it because, well, first of all, I'm proud of myself anytime I kind of overcome some misconceptions and things and, give things a chance and then it turns out pretty positive. So I'm proud that well, first of all, for those that don't know, I went to a furry convention and I vended at a furry convention, which I didn't think I'd ever do because, in all honesty, the furry community has a bit of a stigma to it, and I'm sure if you've heard anything about furries in the past, it's probably been negative, which is how it was for me. But I ended up going, and I at least, made some money. I came out in the green a bit, so that's a positive. But even if I didn't, I think I would have had a good time because that group of people, I feel, is unfairly judged for the most part. Here, sorry, I gotta put this somewhere else. It's in my way. Like, they get a really bad rap for the stigma, with the stigma that comes with their group, which, there is that side of things. They have, like, a porn aspect to them, but what doesn't is kind of the end game I came to. A lot of things do. Like, even anime has typically this this look to it where it's like, oh, it's so cute and innocent and blah blah blah, but no, anime has a ton of porn associated with it as well, so you're always going to have that side of things, I feel like. I feel like people just think it's more weird with furries because they're in costumes, but they never do stuff in costumes. I also learned that. What?
So I've been reading this new, it's not new, but it's Fire Force. It's a manga.
Okay.
And I was actually sort of taken aback that there's a lot of, like, really, like, sexist things, like, still going on in this manga. Like there's, like, a girl that they keep throwing into people, and, like she'll stand up and her butt will, like, go into dude's crotch. And they're like, oh my god. And it's like,
yeah, but that's basic for that art form. I feel like for manga and anime in general, it is kind of sexually charged. Where I feel like it's the opposite after I'd spent some time, I guess, immersed in furry culture. For the most part, they're wholesome. But of course, there's that side of things. It's just kind of sad that I feel like a few media things and a few mockumentaries and stuff actually blew out of proportion the wrong aspect of the community. So I felt pretty bad for a lot of these people because they're chastised and burned at the stake just because they like dressing in these costumes. And a lot of them are really, really talented. Like, these skills that they need for making a lot of this. There's one of my friends who actually suggested I go to the FurryCon. She made a fursuit of her own, and it's totally her style, which is really cool that, her 2D style translates into this, 3D mascot-like style. And she 3D printed, like, the inside of the head, and then there are resin eyes that she needed to do. There are casting pieces. Then she needed to, like, sew the fur into this pattern that's a sleeve that can go over this 3D printed skull. And I looked on the inside. She also needed to put in this thing that would make the head sit appropriately on her head. Because if you just put a head on, your head goes to the inside top of the other one. So you needed this contraption inside of the head to actually suspend it above your shoulders and above your own skull. So that's not leaning on it, the weight's evenly distributed, and it's not bobbling around and stuff. It was highly technical. I was very impressed, but she needed to know all these aspects to be able to do this. And from what I learned, there are vendors there that will sell fursuits or aspects of fursuits and whatever. But she had done it herself, and I ran into a bunch of other people that had made their own, and you could tell if it was kind of a homegrown suit, you know? There's this one girl, hers was bordering on the realistic side of things, which I really appreciated, and it looked really good. And a lot of them, they're airbrushing their fur, you know, or taking like marker to it so it, you know, it gets the variations in the fur. I was really just impressed. And the whole time I thought I was going to have a really awkward encounter with someone, or that somebody's going to be super rude to me, because before I had done this convention, the only 2 instances I had had with furry community people were extremely negative. Like the 2 times I had before, very, very negative experiences. So I really try not to take certain experiences I have and, you know, imprint that onto an entire group. I think that's very naive to do that, and I feel like, including our president, a lot of people do that. They'll judge a whole group of people by one person's mistakes or a couple people. So I didn't want to do that. And especially since these people are obviously into the same sort of things I am, for the most part, animals, right? I figured, well, if I can, you know, show them my art and maybe they like it, maybe I can draw their characters, and, you know, there's a mutual beneficial thing going on. So I ended up going with an open mind, and I came out better than I had gone in. The stigma is ridiculous. I feel really, really bad for these people, because the main thing I learned is a lot of them are actually pent up creatively. They're not allowed hobbies, really. And what I mean by that is a lot of them are in like science-based jobs, tech industry, mathematics, a lot of really brain-intensive jobs that actually look down on hobbies because they feel hobbies are a waste of time, which blew my mind. But after I started thinking about it, it made sense that, you know, the real intellectual people, these sort of people, their bosses think that hobbies are just a waste of time and they should be spending a lot of their time on that industry, right? But a lot of these people need something creative to kind of hold on to stay sane. And I feel like, you know, some cultures, sometimes Asian cultures, things like that, and a lot of, he was explaining, the guy that told me a lot of this stuff, he has a PhD in like a ton of things. It was so weird. He was so smart, and he like had gone to college, and he's like in high demand in his field and stuff, but he was telling me all these things, and that just like their stigma in their culture and in that workforce is just that you're not allowed these kind of freedoms. So they come to this furry fandom to create characters and worlds and all this stuff, and really, after I thought about it, there's no other place for them to really do that. You know, it's kind of this channel or nothing, which for me, that was also a revelation, that they don't really, like me and Gabe, we can think of characters and, you know, worlds and all this stuff easily because that's all we do and we're already creatively inclined. These people technically aren't so creatively inclined, but they still want to, you know, they're what is it, right-brained? Whichever brain side is the mathematics side. They're more that side, but that doesn't mean they don't want to be creative or they can't be creative. Of course they can be creative. They just never get the chance to or know how necessarily. So this is like their stepping stone that's an easy in to being creative on the fly, right? And I just wanted to show, this guy was more, I don't even know how to say it, more productive in terms of creation than a lot of people I know. I wonder if you can see this. This is what he looked like. Here, maybe I'll turn down the brightness. I was just so proud of this random man I had met. Maybe you can see. So this book he's got, okay, that's a regular binder, like a 3-ring binder. I had him show me it. He's an older man, and he, inside this book, every page was a different character profile. There were at least like 500 pages, because I had asked him, I'm like, how many pages is that? He said, at least 500. I've been working on this for over a decade. That's incredible. Like, that blew my mind and really inspired me that, some of these people are that serious about this stuff. And I thought it was really commendable and awesome. Just that there's this community that's full of these worlds and these characters, and I got a couple commissions. And honestly, there's the stuff I would normally draw. Like, one is for a hedgehog and an otter, and they're, medieval based. It's like, I'd do that anyway. Yeah, I'll draw your characters. Like, and not a ton of people are expecting you to do porny stuff. There are specific artists, I think, that are well known in there, similar to anime. At an anime con, there are specific artists you're going to go to for those sorts of things. So they're really synonymous. They're like the same thing, basically. It's just that I feel like the fursuit thing just scares a lot of people. And once I started to understand the purpose of it and everything, it made so much more sense, especially after being in games and understanding MMOs and wanting to throw yourself into a different persona. That's that, just in real life. You may be really proud of, a Warcraft character you've made and you grinded at and you've got them at a certain tier with certain armor and all this stuff. It's the exact same thing, just in real life. And they have this whole community that a lot of them really know each other online as these personas, so when they see each other in real life, they're just talking like they would online. And it's cool. It's how they, get together and vent their frustrations with life, just like any of us. They just do it in costumes, like cosplay, but it's in a fursuit. Though I do always get a kick out of just driving around and seeing a bunch of furries just walking on the street or something. I think it's cute. But now, after I've been immersed in that, I understand it's a lot more innocent. It's a lot more wholesome, too. These people, I trusted my merchandise around these people more than I've trusted it around Comic-Cons or anime cons. These people would not steal from you. They wouldn't. They're just really positive, really polite, considerate, genuine people. And I respected that. Super hardcore. So I think overall it was a very positive time, and I'm going to try to go back next year. Because the other thing is, I found out these people do enjoy my art. I found out that I am not the norm for that sort of fandom. But that doesn't mean they don't like it. It was fresh to them. A lot of people were actually like, whoa, this is what I like, but it's, in a different way, and I like that. So the whole thing with that fandom is it goes on a lot of reputation. So here I am making a fur affinity account because, that might be my actual demographic. And as half artist, half business person, it's smart to go where your art kind of fits once you know where it fits, right? But half of becoming an artist is figuring that out. So I was very, very surprised and very happy at the outcome. Because my original thoughts when I was signing up were not as positive. I was, like I said, I was scared. Mainly I was scared because I was afraid it was just going to be a ton of the people that I had dealt with before, and that was really naive and pretty dumb of me to do that. So once I realized what I was doing, I stopped that, started focusing on the positives and thinking it could be a good experience, and it was. I had nothing to be afraid of. So it was really good. Plus it was a nice kind of vacation for me. I got... Gabe had reserved this kind of nice hotel. It was pretty nice. So it felt a little vacation-y, even though I never got to rest at night. I was always working. But sometimes just the change in scenery and environment can feel like a break. So still working, but kind of felt like a break. Yeah, 3D printers, man. Oh my god, they are so versatile, it's stupid. Yeah, so Eliza, it was very similar to that, the looking down on hobbies. A lot of, and I'm finding this to be a cultural thing, some cultures really look down on hobbies as a waste of time, where really you have to kind of reprogram yourself, and even me to an extent, because art is seen as a hobby, but once I turned that into a job, I was like, well, what is my hobby now, right? Hobbies are really good for your heart and your mental state. Because you need something that not necessarily will make you money or anything like that. You need something therapeutic you can go to, whether it's crafting or music or something just puzzles. I don't know. Something just soft on your mind. I think it's good for it. But some cultures see that as a waste of time. And I could understand where they're coming from, but I don't think it's right. I think we need hobbies. Because hobbies are also a time where you can explore certain things that you've kind of been curious about and see if there's something that you can actually dive into more, either professionally or more heavily. Let's say you whittle something out of wood because you've always wanted to work with wood. Let's say you're really good at it and you didn't know. Then you could actually do something with it and potentially maybe even turn it into a jobby, I'll call it, a job hobby, right? And you're making some money on the side. Maybe you never fully jump to making a full-time job. You don't need to. Maybe it's just a side thing. You do make a couple things, throw them up on Etsy, cool, whatever. There's no stress there. So I feel like a hobby is really a non-stress, job-like thing, I guess. Hey, Steve. That's right brain's creativity. Thank you, Steve. I never remember that. I don't know how long I've known about left brain, right brain. I can never remember which is which. Ooh, Snaggle, that's a good one. Looking down will make you a hunchback. I mean, just looking down all the time instead of looking forward is gonna hinder you, of course, in one way or another. You're gonna trip. Gotta look at where you're going and know where you've been. But yeah, it was a very good experience. It was a nice way to round out my end of my year, I guess. I am crazy behind on my pet commissions, but it's because I got a bunch of holiday ones at the last minute, which I just sent off the last one, so I'm very proud of that. I like sending them off at least a good week before Christmas, if not earlier. So now I have to go back to the ones I'm actually late on, and oh my god, I've been using my iPad too much. I just tried to click my screen with my fingers. But yeah, and then the next con I have isn't till next year in February. I'm purposefully only taking on the ones I know I do pretty good at and that I really like. So, so far next year, I've for sure got C2E2, which that'll be nice. I haven't gone back there for a while because it's usually the same time as Emerald City, and I really like Emerald City, so I usually have to decide between the two. But since Gabe hasn't been to Emerald City in a while, we decided that since I went this year, he gets to go next year. And he went to C2E2 this year, so I'm going next year. And then I applied for Dragon Con, Gen Con, and is that it? Dragon Con, Gen Con? I thought there was another one. Come on, yeah, there is. Dragon Con, Gen Con. I mean, once that Furry Con opens up again, I'll probably apply to there, but next year I'm really gonna try to make my year. I've been saying that the past 3 years, and I don't know if some of you are in the same boat as I am, where you keep saying, yeah, next year's my year. Well, I found out the most important thing is if you're trying to do something the next year, the best way to make sure that happens is to start planning next year this year. So it took me 2 years to understand that, 3 years to actually learn it, but that's okay, Sniggle. If anything changes, just know you can hop into our room. You know. Oh, really, Steve? It's crazy. Hi, Alex. How you doing? Hope you're over your cold. That is crazy, Eliza. Hiding your guitar? Oh, man. Steve, are a lot of them holiday ones? It's just, yeah, I like doing conventions, I do, but they are a lot of time and commitment and money, but the main thing is I've been doing them for like, what is this? This will be the 4th year, right? So after doing them like 1 to 2 a month for like 3 years, you kind of get embarrassed when you show up at the con again and you don't have any new stuff, and you got people asking you, hey, do you have anything new? And if you're me, you were too busy drawing people's pets to make any actual new things that you really wanted to do in the first place. So I feel like doing conventions are really a on-off sort of deal. So it's like maybe 1 year you really hit it hard and you're, selling your stuff, but then the next year maybe that's a creation year and you really bog down and make new content, and then the next year you hit it hard again, selling. So you really got to do that, or else you fall into this. I feel like there's this trap that a couple of my friends are in, or at least people I know, where they've been selling the same book for 4 years and they haven't even made any strides to get a new product. It's like, yeah, enamel pins are a nice little once in a while, but like for me, I have to make the second Pets and Armor book. I have to make, I'm going to try to make 2 of my kids' books that I've got written, just not drawn. It's just that takes time, So, what do we know about time? You have to make it. It doesn't just pop out of air. Gotta make time. So the sacrifice you make then is seeing all the people that you would normally see every year, which that's kind of a hit for me. I really do enjoy seeing, I guess, my regulars every year at certain conventions, but you gotta do what you gotta do, And I think that means next year that we're probably gonna be a little bit more poor and in a bad situation than this year, but I feel like that's also, being freelance, you have to, or independent artist, depending on who you talk to, you have to be prepared to kind of save up for the dry spells. That's kind of freelance 101. So the sooner you can start kind of saving this emergency fund for when things go kind of south, the better off you'll be. I think that's just smart anyway, freelance or not, just, get smart, save some money. Oh, life stuff. I hear you, Steve. Hey, good job, Alex. Sniggle says hi, Gabe.
Hello.
Aw, thanks, Steve. Yeah, much love you too, guy. Good luck with finishing your stuff. I hope you get 2 times speed. Go, go, go. And that's another tough thing I have to deal with now is, so I have to make this next Pets and Armor book, but I need to do it before C2E2. So C2E2 I think is at the end of February. So I need to do this book basically before January and get it in there to be printed and to me by end of February. So that means those pet commissions I was telling you about that were a little bit late already, they might have to wait a little bit more, like a week or so, for me to actually compile this book, send it off to the printers, and then I go back to... The shittiest thing is, I've already done my, hey, your portrait's gonna be late, I'll give you 2 prints because it's late, because I do that. I like to make up for, my ETA being off, I guess. So I've already offered them prints. And if they come back and they're like, okay, you said it'd be another month, and you're still late, so what am I gonna start offering them? Books? But then I have a finite amount of books left. Like one of my books, the Adorned Animals book, I'm not reprinting. That one actually sells so poorly that it's just not worth it to get it reprinted again. So all the ones I've got left, it's the last time I'm ever going to have them. I should probably put that somewhere online. That's happening. Just in case anybody does want those. But yeah, and they're old. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's time for you to retire. I just did that with a few prints too. Just, that's the nature of things, I guess. But yeah, I think next year I'm going to try to really hit creation hard, get a couple of my books ready, and then potentially maybe 2021, God, that sounds crazy, start hitting up some literary agents and see what I can do with that. So that should be a pretty full year. I think I've done a pretty decent job with kind of shedding my freelance fear. When I started to do this sort of thing, I feel like I was very scared about where my money was coming from, you know, when I was getting paid again, all that sort of stuff, which is totally normal, especially when you switch over to that. But I think I'm finally settling into that, okay, you know, I can do this if things get rough. I can always go here, you know, if I really, really need something. I've got, you know, networking, all that kind of stuff. And that takes a while, I feel like, to build that up. So if you do plan on going freelance, or becoming independent in terms of, you know, your art and such, that's really normal in the beginning to be scared of instability. But, you know, if you keep at it, you'll eventually figure out kind of the ebb and flow of how that works. Oh, that's true, Alex. That's true. I could hit you up for that. I'll let you know. I do kind of have that background too, because I was doing a lot of marketing and stuff for games. I would make the game and I'd have to market the game, and I don't know. It's funny because an animation degree doesn't exactly cover that, but I had practical practice, we'll say. But thank you, Alex. Definitely will.
Job at the library, hanging out with Alex.
Man, I was thinking about it. If I do run into, like, worst case scenario, I'm coming to the library. We could work together. I feel like I'd just be, like, putting up a gallery every once in a while of just my stuff randomly. It's like, Ashley, why is this here? I don't know. We didn't take it down from last time. You didn't have permission to do it last time either. Well, you didn't tell me no.
That's not my problem.
That's not me. Oh, bye, Sniggle. Good luck with what you gotta do.
Bye, dude.
Really, Alex? Why is that? Do people leave? Is it a horrible place to work? You can tell me. I won't tell anyone.
I wonder if it's like the quietness.
You think the vacuum gets to people? Dude, I would love that. I love quiet so much. Oh my god. Yeah, that's weird. You would think, like, I feel like the library is like the perfect job. Like, part-time job, man. Yeah, Sniggle, get the workout on. Do it. Be the guy. Oh, customer service turnover? Really? Do you get a lot of, like, angry library goers? That people are like, I can't take this anymore. I gotta leave. It's like, but, you know, Eustace just came in for the 40th time this week. I can't handle her overdue books anymore. Like, I don't... What does that mean? Eliza says, hi, Gabe.
Hello.
Oh, just part-time positions? See, I wouldn't mind that. Like, what is that? 4 hours a day for a couple days a week? Am I just totally out of the loop with what part-time means now? I feel like I am. Please tell me what part-time means now. Oh, I'm still right. Okay, cool. I never know anymore. Sometimes longer. That's okay. Like, maybe 2 or 3 days, 8 hours? What is that? That's 24 hours. That's half of 40. Yeah, that's part-time. Aw, thank you, Eliza. I'm glad you like them. I wanted to do Yule stickers. Yeah, it's a little more pagan. It's okay. They're more me, and I feel like I shouldn't do art that isn't me, and I am not Christmas. I'm sorry. Plus, I am just burnt the hell out of Christmas, and I don't want to blame Mariah Carey, but I'm not going to say she's not blameless. You know what I mean? Like, she has a little to do with it. I don't know. Oh, shit. How did I do this? Gabe, do you remember how to rotate the canvas in Clip Studio?
R?
Is it R? No. Hold on. Oh, is it? Oh, thank you, God. Oh, could you? That'd be awesome. Yeah, because I was thinking about it, and it's like, well, I think now that if I ever did have to do it again and go back and get a job, I feel like I would know now how to better manage a freelance lifestyle while still getting a little bit of passive income, you know what I'm saying? So, but at this time, I feel like my ego would just take a huge hit, and I'd be like, well, I'm failing at being freelance and blah, 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 blah. So, plus I gotta get to the point I really need the money. So right now, I'm still above water. But technically, Gabe's gonna be, he's not out of the job, but he's on the prowl for something new. So because of that, we're not gonna have, like, his side of the income for a bit, which I'm still not too scared about. I think we're okay. We have a big savings, I guess. So there's that, but buy stuff after the holidays. That's smart. That's smart, Eliza. I would do that too. Because some people just give you holiday money, which honestly is super preferable, if you ask me. No one in my life has ever really known me well enough to get me something right out, you know? Maybe you, Gabe. I'd probably give you that credit, but... Oh no, are you gonna crash? Don't crash. Okay. It does autosave every once in a while, I totally dig that. The hell was I talking about? Oh, yeah. I mean, you guys are probably the same. You know, a lot of the time I feel like creatives don't get understood by family and stuff, and they don't know what to get you other than those shitty art supplies. But like once you go pro, and they really have no idea. And typically we hermit so much no one really knows what we like either. So like DVDs and stuff like that's out of the question. Streaming is kind of made buying movies and stuff obsolete. So I feel like money's the only safe option now, but it is so impersonal. Like what Gabe's family does, and this is funny to me, is we just give each other Amazon wish lists, and I don't know. Though Gabe had a really good idea for this year. I got his sister, one of the two, but she's kind of a girly girl. She enjoys lady things like clothes and perfumes and everything I'm not. Right, she's into it, and she enjoys being rich, and I don't know, she's super into a lot of that stuff. Nigel, welcome, thank you for the follow. So, you know, we were looking at her wish list, and it's really funny how indicative people's wish lists are of who they are. So like my wish list versus Gabe's versus his sister versus his brother, his other sister. It's really funny because you could look at it and you could be like, that's this person. That's this person. It's really funny. But I was looking through hers and I'm like, I don't understand any of this, right? I don't know, like, why is perfume $50? I don't understand. But one of her things was like a gratitude book. It was like a book you know, write things you're thankful for in it. And I was like, that's super positive. I can understand and get behind that. So I got her that. And then Gabe was talking about getting her, because Gabe's a penophile, which it means they're super into pens. Sounds a lot worse than it is. Swear it's not. It's about pens. Believe me. Anyway, he knows a ton about fountain pens and things like that. So he was saying that she's a lawyer, she must write a lot, plus, you know, if I got her this gratitude book, we could get her a really nice pen. And it's one of those things where when you kind of understand someone and what they have to do and what they like, but you can actually take that and put something to it that also belongs there, like a puzzle, right? that it makes sense. So she's not going to see it coming, which is awesome. It's super useful for her, and it's really pretty. We got her a pretty one. So it's like hitting all these bars, and I was like, Gabe, you're a genius, right? I was impressed. It's very rare that Gabe can impress me like that, but he did. Anyway, so that was really cool. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, it's just funny because, like, I mean, if you have friends, ask to see their wish list, because usually it's like, that is so them, you know? I don't know. Mine was like, there are a couple super simple Japanese-looking plushies. There's a bunch of stuff for silk screening, because I want to get into that. A lot of, like, technical art-related things, stuff for my Cricut. I don't know, there's just a lot of weird mishmashy art stuff, but I thought it was funny. Do it for the camaraderie, basically. I was really surprised, Eliza, at how split people got about the art supplies. I wanted to join into that conversation, but I didn't. Because, like I said, I think Twitter is usually a dumpster fire, because everybody's just already mad. I don't know what it is about Twitter, but it's like if you log into Twitter, you're already mad about something. But I wanted to say that it's not the tools that make the artist, it's the artist that makes the tools. But I feel like I would have just gotten flamed, because so many people were so angry about the art supplies. And granted, those art supplies do usually suck. I had at least 2 of those that my grandma, bless her heart, was trying her best to, get me something I could use.
What was the argument?
Huh?
What was the argument?
It was a Twitter argument about, remember those art sets you'd get that had, like, colored pencils and pastels and watercolors and, colored pencils and all these things. And they look super impressive, but they're usually the shittiest quality.
You usually get them at Walgreens.
Yeah, and they look like crap. And sometimes they're expensive ones too, but they're still crap somehow. Like they're in a wood case, they look all snazzy, but they're crap, right? We've all seen these, at least in some facet. So I don't know.
One of those is like as recent as like mid-2000s.
Yeah. And I mean, I want to give it some credit that it would be exposing a kid, let's say, to different mediums early. But I can't say that because they're a very sore example of those mediums. They're a very poor version of them because they're usually crap, right? Like, it's not like they're all Prismacolor brand or something, It's like, ugh. So that was a whole thing on Twitter, and people were so divided by it, and some said it helped them, some said it didn't. I don't know. I feel like if you're a true artist, you can make something cool with ketchup. Like, it's all about creativity and, how whatever you're working with, I guess. But, I don't know. It was kind of funny. But I've learned just not to mention anything on Twitter that's not business related. And I think once you start actually being the voice of your business, it really sucks that you can't actually speak your mind about anything, unless it's positive. That's been a funny thing. Unless you're talking about something in a positive light, you really shouldn't say anything. It's silly. I feel like a lot of artists get really flamed for speaking their mind about certain things, and then it affects their sales and everything. So there was an article I actually read on Twitter that somebody had written about this terrible identity crisis so many of us are having, where it's like we're a person, but we're also a business, but we also can't be a person when doing our business. You know what I mean? So it's like, now I only use Twitter for, if it's going to be something funny or, I don't know, just things that can't backfire in my face. And I've been doing that for years, but then I got the great idea of doing my fan art rant on just a random post. I just said one little thing, and I swear to God it was a troll that blew it up. But they basically fought me, and it's one of those things like, don't fight on the internet, kids. You will not win. The funny thing is I did win, though. This is like the only time I won. They eventually liked my post, but they were so mad for 99% of the argument. And I can't tell if they just gave in or what, but it's still on there if anybody's curious. But they were from another country too, which sucks because when you get in an internet argument and it's with somebody that potentially has a language barrier, that just adds a whole nother level of stupid to trying to argue it. You know what I mean? I don't know. So it's just like, avoid it. You're not going to change anything, you know? Like, I bet that person, regardless of me winning or not, still feels the way they feel, you know, and probably, I'm still worried they don't even know what I was arguing to this day. And maybe vice versa. Maybe they were saying the same thing I was, but we didn't know it. But I usually get, like, super bad anxiety when I'm just talking about fan art now with people, because I know my stance, and I'm like, shit. It's gonna come out at some point. I can't even help it, you know. Let's see. What would you prefer to get? Do you always have something specific in mind, or do you like to get surprised? I don't like gifts. Honestly, for the most part, I really don't like them. Like, my favorite gifts I've ever gotten have been spur of the moment things that somebody gets me because they're like, oh my god, this was you. Like, one of my favorite gifts, it's so stupid, is still when Sean, Art of Price, got me a rock that he thought represented me, and he presented it to me, and he told me why this rock was like me. And he did that for everybody at Vaughn House one time, and I was like, this is really cool. It's so thoughtful. Like, I really appreciate thoughtful gifts. Another gift that I keep next to me, and he's not here anymore, but Sniggle. Sniggle took one of my book designs from my Book of Books hashtag that I did for Inktober, and he actually made it. It was a walnut book I designed, and he actually made this. This is still probably the coolest physical, like, fan-made gift I've ever gotten. It's to the T, it's correct. Like, even down to the stitching on the back of it, that's what I did. Like, how cool is that? That's so damn cool. I love it. So it's things like this. I don't want to buy things, you know, like, if there's something I need, I'll buy it. Don't worry about it, you know. Or I like favors. If you know somebody who knows somebody that makes plushies, you know, get me a deal. Stuff like that. Like, you know, I'd rather have something really unique and cool and that potentially takes no effort or money at all, really, than something that's from Target, or, you know, like somebody getting me and like 5 other people the same thing of cocoa. I don't want that. I don't want that. Like, especially food sometimes, unless it's super interesting, cool, away from, you know, my culture food. And I can buy that. Like, if I can buy it, don't buy it for me, you know. I'd rather somebody pay off my rent so I have a month that I can kind of, like, buy me time. If you can buy me time, oh, I love you. I love you, love you, love you. It's the most precious thing. Blick Art Supply gift cards. See, that's the other thing. I don't buy much at Blick. A lot of my art supplies aren't even there. One of my, like, favorite sketchbooks that I do everything on, these guys, these are out of print. I can't even buy these anymore. You know how scary it is to know you have a finite amount of paper? As an artist, you want perfection scariness? There it is. Like, I have it, like, in my possession, a finite amount that I can use, and then it's gone. That's so scary, you guys. Like, think about that for a minute. Think about your favorite supplies, and think that they could be gone in just a couple drawings. I can't. I have to figure out another like paper like this because I can't find this anywhere. And I think it's stupid because it was actually like just maybe a journal originally. It was at Barnes and Noble was the main place I got these. I can't find them anymore. And like the company is overseas, and I've actually talked to their reps. They don't seem to know where I can get them anymore, so I'm SOL, man. I'm scared. Yeah, Eliza, oh my god. So I've moved so many times in my life for various reasons. And whenever I move, I've got like a bunch of these totes that have stupid shit people have given me that I can't throw away. But I really don't want it anymore. It's one of those things. It's like tour t-shirts that are too crappy to wear. And they feel like crap, but you don't want to throw them away because they're like a memento. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Really, Eliza? Oh my god. Yeah, that's crazy. You had people get mad at you? That's so weird. I haven't had many people get mad at me about anything when it came to, like, omitting stuff from my art. I don't know why that is. Like, we have a couple friends, too, who have, like, people get mad at them for not doing things. You included now, Eliza, but it's like, how can people be mad that you're not doing their thing? It's your art. That doesn't even compute with me. Like, talk about, thinking it's about you. Holy crap. Narcissism for everybody. That's incredible. I think that's a good response, at least, to them, Eliza. If you don't like one of my dogs, sub them out. Do one of yours, Oh, only on Twitter. Right? Right? Man, I wanted to get back into Twitter so bad because, honestly, a lot of Twitch is on Twitter. A lot of, honestly, this furry fandom I learned about is, like, all of there. I had no idea. But, like, Twitter's their main back and forth. But I was like, maybe I should do it. And the first day back, I got in a fight. And it was someone just basically calling me out sort of fight. It wasn't even a good fight. And then, I don't know, it feels super empty. I feel like there are only certain types of people that use it. And it's not a real positive place. A lot of the stuff I keep seeing is just people ranting, or it's a lot of politics. And a lot of people jumping to conclusions. That was my most angry thing I saw, is somebody would take a screenshot of something out of context. One of the things was this lady who was claiming this guy who was a patron of hers had refunded or asked for a refund for the past 3 months of him pledging to her Patreon. And Gabe and I were like, that's not right, you can't do that. And we went and this was a screen cap that showed, and it must have been, doctored, because there's no way she could have done this. We went and we did the research. It's like, does Patreon do refunds? How does somebody go about getting a refund on Patreon? It's not even through Patreon, right? So the screenshot she had was totally bunk. So all these people were just, jumping down Patreon's throat in this about this guy and getting just angry. And we're like, you're getting angry for no reason. You guys, do your homework. Go look up, refund policies and all this stuff before you actually jump and believe this person. Because some people are putting up things on Twitter, on the internet, just to get reactions, whether they're true or not. It's rumor mill type stuff. They want to be, have people talking to them and interacting with them, whether it's good or bad. So my main thing is, don't spread stuff unless you know it's true. Another thing was someone I know was spreading this rumor about this artist I like, this musical artist. And she is like the least racist person I know in my life, right? She and her husband are like not even racist at all, but there was this rumor circulating that she was, and there was this excerpt from this magazine. I looked up this magazine. It was taken completely out of context. It was just this little snippet, and I'm like, that is so unfair to her. The internet is the worst rumor mill to smear people's reputations that I can even think of. So this is where the smartest thing to do, if you are a business yourself, don't even put your hand in any of this. Like, just step out, throw your art in, step away. And even if your art gets controversial, don't get into it. Like, stay out of everything. It's horrible what's out there, that the people are just starting fires and just gasoline. It's awful. Okay? Just make sure you're looking up things before you're actually agreeing to put those things on your wall, to actually say, yes, I believe in this thing. Don't do that until you've done your homework, because, you know, I think a little bit less of the people I know that have just jumped into this, and it's like, you know, it took me less than a minute to go look and see if that was true. You should have done that. Why didn't you do that? You know? So I feel like the most intelligent people I can think of, before they do anything, they think about it, they go do their research, and then they make an actual educated decision on it, right? Don't do anything impulsively if you can help it. I know that's hard to believe coming from me. Yeah, Eliza, right? So that's another thing. The main thing I learned when doing mobile games and doing the marketing for mobile games is there is a set number of things you can say in either a block of text or an image, and then people's brains shut off. It's like having too many options on a menu. People's brains shut off. Like, there is an actual number that you can have that people just shut off their brains. And you can look this up, okay? I actually looked it up after I'd heard about it and I was doing research on it, but I want you to look it up too. If you are like, Ashley, I don't know, look it up. Prove me wrong if you need to. But I remember actually reading this, that after a certain amount of time or a certain amount of text, they just stop reading. And it might even be, like, you can maybe even think of a time you were reading something and you're like, I don't care anymore. Or, I'm not going to read the rest of that. It's the too long didn't read, right? So when I was doing all this marketing, I could only say a couple buzzwords, or like not even a sentence. They have to be fragments for people to remember and get them excited. Otherwise, it's just lost, you know? And sometimes I don't even care on my own posts. You'll see on my own posts on Instagram, I'll put a ton of text. Lately, I'm going to say what I want to say. I'm trying not to be too anal about it, I guess, but, you know, it's just weird to know these things just to kind of break them. I don't know. I don't want to be a business to the extreme of being cheesy or anything. I want to still be genuinely me, but I do know what things are better than other things. It just sucks. It's true, Kristen. Some people don't care to do it. They'd rather just be mad and have an experience and have drama. It's that drama of, like, food that they're just eating, you know? Some people are so addicted to drama, if they can't get outside and get it in their real life, that's what the internet's for, and that's what they go to. So that's why Twitter, Twitter and Tumblr are kind of just... It's funny it's called Tumblr, because that's really what it is. They're tumbling all their stuff together and just ricocheting and getting more and more mad a lot of the time. And I feel like Twitter is like the text version of Tumblr, where Tumblr is a lot more visual. And at least Instagram, it's just like, throw it up and walk away. I don't know. Oh my god, yeah, Serenity, that is the most aggravating thing, is those limits. It's so bad. Also, I just realized this is really, like, this is this instead of being this. So I'm gonna have to redo this one. I don't know if I want to do that now or later. I'll do it later. I'll make another, here's what I'm gonna do. Usually, when I'm doing something like either digitally or in my sketchbook and I don't like it and I know I have to redo it later but I don't have the time right now, I make a note of it somehow. If it's digitally, I'll do this on another layer. So I at least know, okay, redraw it. If it's in my sketchbook, I'll usually do something like this next to it. So I at least know redo it. If it's good, I either do this or put a circle, like it's good. But in this case, I want it to be more round, and it's not. So don't have time to do that right now, so I'll do that later. I don't want to waste your guys' time. Got a little acorn there. Got a pine cone down here. There's another pine cone I really liked. Hold on. Let me go and get it. Is it here? No. I think it's still online. Hold on. You can go get it. See, that's weird, Eliza, that you had like non-artist dog owners that were like, I want to see my dog. It's like, well, commission me, I'll draw your dog, lady. You should have told him that. You should have totally told him that. Gabe, if you want to put that in the chat, go ahead.
What?
What you just posted.
Oh.
Hello. Oh my god, what is going on? Okay, I gotta go get this. What is it? Where is it? Oh my god, what did I even name it? Come on. It's not that. Sorry, I'm trying to find a file. Weird. Oh, I'm in the wrong area. Duh. Do you want to say anything about it, Gabe?
No.
Yeah, Alex, let me see real quick, because I know it's out there, but the weird thing is it's always like $40 or $50 for that sketchbook because it's so rare now. It's the Cachet Earthbound sketchbook. Yeah, see, that's the problem. You see how much those are? These used to be $7. I'm not paying $50 for one that's, you know, got, how many pages do these usually have? Like 50? Usually, I save the labels now, just so I've got, you know. Okay, it's got 80 online sheets, 160 pages. I think it's counting front and back, so it's just 80 sheets. But yeah, I mean, this was like, was it $7 when I bought it? This is the 5x7 one. Usually I get the 5x7s, the 7x10, and the 9x12 ones, because those are my commission papers. That's the other scary thing. I don't want to use the Strathmore Tone Tan. Yeah, it's toned, but it's not as warm as the Cachet Earthbound. And it sucks with markers because it's actually super porous and super like soft, where these ones are really nice and dense and actually kind of hard. Yeah, the Strathmore ones, totally different feel. Like these, like I said, are really smooth. You want smooth, dense, untextured if you're going to be using markers on anything. And they hold ink and marker really well. Like they're super, super like soft, or not soft, but like dense. Like, you know, you can kind of hear it. It's almost like if you cut a piece of cardstock in like thirds. Whereas the Tone Tan, it feels like it's made out of pressed felt. And it's, like I said, it's super porous. It's almost like working with watercolor paper. It sucks out your pigment like crazy when you use markers on it. I remember when I had to use it before I was getting that paper, it was like going through my markers almost twice as fast. I was like, something's wrong here. Something's super wrong. So I've been trying Stillman and Burns. I've been trying this one called Kona. It's too dark. It's not even the right kind of tone that I like. So this is the hard thing, is also finding that level of warmth without it getting obnoxious, you know? Because a lot of toned paper is either too cold, or it's turning gray, kind of that cold area, or it's too warm. Funny enough, a lot of it is almost getting to this degree, where it's like this, instead of, you know, yay. Like, this is the right level of warmth. This is basically mid-tone warm, and then the Strathmore is actually more cold than this one even is. So I'm still looking. I've been looking for about 2 years now, since I knew they started like dissipating in the wild, and when I started talking to the company, because it's Daler-Rowney. It's not like they're failing, you know, they just have apparently discontinued this line, which I want to be like, hey, I'll buy your remaining stock wherever it is. Just don't leave me. I need your paper. It's so sad. Like I said, it's one of the scariest things. Alright, I was gonna get this picture. Yeah, I need this pine cone. You don't understand. Please do. Yeah, if you guys see it in the wild, I'll buy it from you. It's just I will not be able to justify, you know, getting one sketchbook for $50 just because someone has it. I can't do that. But yeah, they exist out there still. It's just, you know, the ones that still exist are very expensive because people know they're going away. It's so bogus. I'm guessing that Barnes & Noble just wasn't selling them as well as they wanted to. But the weirder thing is that they were the only ones carrying them. I didn't see them ever at an art store. I only found them online and at Barnes & Noble. Those were the only two places I ever saw them. Just super, super strange. Like I said, I think my real answer to my problem is actually going to be finding a replacement, which is going to be expensive and difficult. Seeing as a lot of the same sketchbooks are carried by majority of places, Michaels, Joann, Blick, all that stuff, I might have to go outside of that because I've tried a lot of them. They just don't have the right tone, and if they have the right tone, they don't have the right paper structure. So I was actually thinking about making my own too. I was at least smart and scanned a blank page from one of my bigger Daler-Rowneys. So I've got an actual scan of one of those pages. So if I can actually, I was even thinking about printing out those pages on white paper that's a similar density and texture than those are. Hey, maybe that'll work. I feel a little ridiculous for having to go that far, but to maintain this image that I've based my whole brand basically around this paper. It's ridiculous. Like when you're at a con and you see my booth, it's basically the way it is because of these pieces of paper. So, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm stupid for doing that because I did it without really understanding that I did it. That's the other thing. Like, I mean, Gabe, you were with me when I started using these. Mm-hmm. And I mean, didn't it just I just dove into it and I didn't really think twice?
Basically. I mean, who's to say that?
Who's thinking about that when they're, you never start using a product thinking it's going to go away. Like, how weird is that? Like, what are the odds? Has anything good happened to you guys lately? Give me a good story. Yeah, and all I have is, like, we have an inkjet. We just actually bought 2 new printers because our old one kind of just shit the bed. So before the con, we had to buy these, like, quickly because I was making my books through them. So I printed a bunch of color, and basically one of my books is doing that. And Gabe and I had kind of tested it before, like printing out the sketchbook page on paper, then doing it on that. It seemed to hold pretty well. It didn't really displace the ink at all because the ink basically is stained in there. You know, it's not sitting on top of it or anything. It's not like it's glossy paper. So that might be my, like, last ability to do it. I don't know. Oh, that's okay, Serenity. Are you feeling better lately, at least? Yeah, it's not bad. And we're getting, in terms of printers, we're getting a continuous flow set up for these new ones. So that really helps when you're going through a lot of ink, that you can use like third-party ink and just have it refill itself, basically. So I never thought we'd get to that level, but I guess we're there now. Oh, good, Serenity. Have you been able to get some sleep at all? I always worry about you and sleep. Sleep is so important. You know that answer. I do. I was hoping a different one. Maybe someday. You want Christmas to be over? Is it the music, or is it the pressure, or the onslaught of crowds at your restaurant? Is it more that? When I went to the con last weekend, I ate at IHOP, and I ate there alone. And I never have a problem eating alone. I think it's fine. I've had people tell me it's sad. I don't know why that's sad. I would also go to a movie alone if I wanted to. But it was just basically me alone in this IHOP just eating an omelet. And I was totally fine with it. I think it's important to be fine with stuff like that. Like, be able to be with yourself comfortably. Because if you're uncomfortable when you're alone with yourself, I don't know, man. I would never want to be there. You gotta get to a better place. Oh, you get to see your friends, Eliza? Cool. Do you get to travel, like, to see them, or where are you going? Oh yeah, the workload. I think you're in a lot of the same boat with a lot of people, Serenity, that a lot just want it to be over because of that workload. Yeah, Serenity, you're kind of like me in that sense. The religious experiences for you. Honestly, yeah. I had this really bad habit when I would watch movies with people. I got really mad, and I mean mad, if they wanted to pause it and go do something in the middle of the movie. I used to get, like, enraged. Now I definitely don't. Like, I broke that pretty hard. Gabe, weren't you with me for that whole arc?
Sort of.
Like, when you got with me, was I still doing the we can't pause it, keep going. We'll do it later.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
Yeah. Brand new movies, I think.
Yeah, like I wanted to be fully immersed in this thing, and you know, obviously now I realize that, especially having the dogs we have, you gotta pause things and you know take a break, go get some food, whatever. I don't know. I was just so much more anal about it. But I was giving myself like unnecessary stress by doing that, so I felt I needed to change that. I've been really weird about a lot of things in my life, except for these past, I'll give myself some credit, 10 years, probably. Or at least, let's say since I was 25. So not quite 10 years, but I'm 33, almost 34. So back when I was 25, I think I started to actually soften up a bit, because I was raised in kind of a militant way. Not by my parents, but by myself, because of my parents. But I was very methodical about a lot of my daily stuff, and very, like I said, militant. Honestly, that's probably the best word for it. And since I got out of that situation and stuff, it's been a really long road to kind of pull myself out of that mindset that things need to be a certain way. You know, perfectionism and all that stuff. You gotta pull yourself out of that. Otherwise, I just was stressing myself out so hard. Really? Serenity, what happened? Was it something specific? Isn't that weird, Eliza? Wouldn't you think we'd be more easygoing when we were younger? Like, why are we more easygoing now? It's like I'm more easygoing now, but I'm also more angry. I don't know. I used to be less easygoing and more nice. I don't know. No, because I'm nice in certain ways. I'm more angry at the things that I can't control now. I think that's more the thing. Like politics and crap like that. And dumb people, you know. Inconsiderate people. Just... oh. It's one of my buttons. Man, I'm getting hungry. Trying to do this ivy wreath, but also keep it still a circle. Which I should have drawn the circle ahead of time, so I could actually fill it appropriately, but I'm winging it. Oh, we did, actually, Alex. We did order Charlie Fox's. That pizza is actually, like, what I'm used to calling it is like a bar pizza, where the cheese is like a shelf, you know? There's this pizza place in Minnesota that was my favorite pizza place ever, and they're called Punch Pizza. I don't know if they're anywhere else or not, but they made their pizzas in like a stone fire oven thing, and they'd come out and they don't really even look like pizzas, but they are, you know, and they'd have like goat cheese and spinach and stuff on them. Like, I don't want to say artisan pizza, but I don't like the shelf pizza. Didn't you have a name for it? What did you call it?
Just brick oven pizza.
Brick oven pizza?
That's like its technical term.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's not even like Domino's, Papa John's, Pizza Hut, like you pull up the piece and there's cheese. This is like, it's a square. You know, the square pizza.
I mean, it's not always square. Usually it's round. But I think it looks more like a square because they don't...
No, I mean square pieces.
Oh, the Charlie Fox's, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking for the pull cheese, I guess. Okay, so try Doocracy. Gabe, you want to look up Doocracy? Or Docracy? Doocracy. What Alex just said there in the chat. Not for pulled cheese? Yeah, because the Charlie Fox's one, the margarita was okay. It was too garlicky for Gabe, but I love garlic. The taste was good. It's just that consistency of that rubber cheese. That's another word for it. I call it rubber cheese. I'm not big into that. Yeah, Giordano's is good. I like Giordano's. I also don't mind Rosati's sometimes, but that again, that's like the rubber cheese. But yeah, if I can just find a punch. I haven't had mod pizza. I was told that mod pizza is more like what I'm looking for. With the the stone oven pizza, whatever. Like it's artisan. I don't know. I don't want to call it that. It sounds so douchey. No. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. I feel like I need to have a visual aid. I don't think many people have seen this type of pizza. Yeah, these are my favorite kinds of pizzas. Oh, it was so good. And I even love the little char bubbles it would get. Oh, I would just fold that pizza in half. They were pretty small. They were maybe like 10 inches around, like diameter. And I just fold it and just eat it. And I could just polish off an entire one of those because they're so thin, but they weren't crispy. You know, they weren't doughy either. They were like this nice in between. It almost was like they made it on a pita, but it had giant ridge sides. It's so good. Oh my god. If any of you know where in Chicago I can get a pizza like this, I live in fucking Chicago and it's hard to find this pizza. What is that? What is that? No, Punch Pizza is just the place. I think it's just in Minnesota.
Oh, this might be what
The Doocracy one?
it looks like.
Ooh boy.
It's like really flat, but then at the end it's like bubbly.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have like a shape it's kind of adhering to. They kind of whatever. It kind of looks like a pizza. It's a circle. Screw it, it's a pizza.
It's because they're making it, and it's not really like, it's not like they pulled the dough out of the thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, you watch them make them. It's so at Punch Pizza the whole thing is you go up to this thing, you order your pizza, and then behind you is the oven, and you see them like you see people at Subway make your sub sandwich. They're doing your pizza right in front of you. So they do the dough real quick. They do the and then they slap it down, they put on some stuff, slap it in the oven. It's cool. Yeah, Punch is the brand, it's not the type. Sorry, I didn't even finish your question, Serenity. But I didn't realize that was so like I thought they were everywhere. I don't know why I thought that. That was very naive of me. But I just assumed, oh yeah, everywhere else is gonna have Punch. It's cool. Nope. I moved to Wisconsin, a couple of years ago, and they didn't have anything close to that, and I was devastated.
They had mod.
I never got that.
No?
No, and I think either you or Tim were telling me that, oh, Moth looks like that, and I was like, I never got a chance. But if I can get that again, I'll be very happy. That's my favorite pizza. Gabe's favorite pizza is this bar pizza. The Rosati's. Even though before we moved here, you were all about Giordano's.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, if I can get Giordano's, I'll get it every fucking night, but,
So Giordano's is your favorite?
Yeah.
Okay.
But also Rosati's.
Also Rosati's. Alright. This guy. I mean, usually we're just cool with getting Papa John's or whatever. I don't care. Oh, Gia Mia. Giordano's for life. I will give Giordano's massive credit because they've been the only pizza place that I've known of since I've been here that has green olives. Nowhere else has green olives anymore. It's black olives or bust. And I'm like, no. But last time I went to Giordano's and I ordered green olives, they gave them to me on my pizza, but then they also gave me a little ramekin that had more in it. And I have mad respect for that. I was all about it. That made my entire year. It's weird that one time we had Rosati's though, and it wasn't like an actual Rosati's or something.
Because it was in Indiana.
It was in Indiana, that's why?
Yep.
Oh. That's funny. Okay, Eliza, we'll be here. Do what you gotta do. Oh man, we're all too chubby. It's just what it is. Man. It's so bad. I'm gonna try to lose weight for once. Turning 30 really screwed my jam. Like, for real. Alex, is the library doing anything for, like, holiday stuff? Do you guys do any cool events or anything?
Yeah, they're gonna have Mark Wahlberg. Is he gonna come out?
Why would he come to the library?
No, sorry, not Mark. Donnie.
He'd go to Meyer. That's where his
that's
thing
right.
is.
That's right.
Not the library, you fool.
Yeah, but you know, he's in the area. Why not? It's not gonna be Jenny McCarthy, that's for sure.
I don't need it. I don't need any of that. I'm more about the books. I do like me some Mark Wahlberg now and then, but I gotta be in the mood for Mark. He's a definite mood man. How the hell did you get on the Wahlbergs from library?
Because he lives out here.
But what does that have to do with the library?
Well, because if it's gonna be a grand opening, then they're gonna have like some famous person come in and like cut the ribbon or some shit.
At the restaurant, not the library.
No, but they would do the library because they're. Hey, you know we gotta learn, right?
I don't think they do that for library grand openings.
I bet you they'll have somebody famous, like some local famous writer.
Yeah, writer, not Mark Wahlberg. He's
Hey,
not
maybe-
gonna endorse a library,
Maybe he
bro.
wrote a book.
No. If he wrote a book, it wasn't him writing the book. Quote, quote, quotes. Oh, Geneva Diner? Oh, wow, really?
You did what?
Apparently, Alex says he goes to the Geneva Diner.
There you go.
But he won't now since he's got his own place. He can just walk in there and be like, give me a beer and pizza or a burger. I'm Mark Wahlberg.
No, it's Downey.
No, Mark's gonna go in there too, dude.
No,
They're
maybe
family.
Mark's around, sure.
Yeah, I'm not saying he goes there to work. That's ridiculous. That's Mark Wahlberg. He doesn't need to
Busy
work.
boy.
I mean, he should work. I don't even know what he's doing lately. No confirmed sightings yet? Okay, I'll tell you if I see him, you tell me if you see him, okay, Alex? I need to know. That would be weird to, like, be going to Meyer and then just be like, oh, whoops.
He's like staring at the ice cream. He's like, I don't know which one.
I
New
like
York
Rocky
brick or
Road,
Chicago brick.
but, yeah.
Oh no, wait. What's the New York cheesecake or Chicago brick?
Oh shit, or you see him buying, like, frozen pizza, it's like, Mark, what are you doing? Isn't your place, like, in the parking lot?
Sometimes you just need a Jack's Pizza.
I agree with that. I agree with that. See, Gabe, I gotta take Jack's over Rosati's even. Like, I can't do bar pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't. Deal. Hey, weren't you gonna look up something about the book? Not the sizes, but you were gonna look at something today.
Oh, I was going to compare the other websites.
Did you do that?
No.
Could you do that? Because I wanted to put in that book order, like, soon. I gotta make the book, but I want to be able to just put in the order somewhere once I make it. And I know I just released an enamel pin, but I've got another one coming that I haven't told anyone about. I don't know how well it's gonna do. It's not a character. We'll see. It's kind of for nature tea enthusiasts. Actually, maybe I showed it on stream. I can't even remember now. I've got a dog on my lap that's running. That's always funny. Sounds like the right pin for you. Did I not? I don't think I showed it. Serenity, have I shown it to you yet? I can show it. If I haven't, I can't remember if I did or not. Could have sworn I did. Yeah, you might dig it now that I think about it. Okay, here, I'll show you. Stickers are slow going tonight. I think I'm talking too much. I honestly was thinking of not streaming again tonight because, like, my brain's not in it. But I think I've been doing okay. I've been ranting, so that means something. Okay, pins. Pin T. Pin T. Okay, so here we go. So basically, this is not how it's going to be. Let me open this in Photoshop. Hold up. Hold up. Okay. How you doing, Butters? You okay? Yeah, they are enamel pins. These? What are you talking about, Alex? Because these are enamel pins. I just released that Thistle Pip enamel pin, though. Here, I'll show you real quick what this is going to do. Because right now they just look like pins. They're not just pins. Kind of. So buttons are usually like metal. I make buttons here behind me, but I've got a button press. They're metal, and then they're the picture, and then they're a piece of plastic over the top, and they get crunched together, and you make a button that way. I think I have one near me. So buttons you can easily make at home. Here's a button. I have made this at home. Here's an enamel pin. This needs to be made overseas because there are components to it that are unfortunately toxic and illegal in the United States. Ugh. So there's that. So enamel pins are very heavy in comparison. They're metal. So there are two types of enamel. There's soft enamel and there's hard enamel. Majority of what people do is soft enamel, which it's, you know, all the lines are raised, but then the enamel that they pour into it doesn't go to the top of the line art. It's concave, right? So it goes inward, and there's usually these shadows around on it. I always get hard enamel because I really like that it's flush with the line work. So both of these are hard enamel, kind of. For these, I have to actually get soft enamel with a resin dome because they have a very custom color line work. If I was doing gold, like my other pin, that is... Sorry, Butters. Gabe, do you have my lily pad? Can you grab me one? Oh wait, I found it. Never mind, I got it. Okay, so majority of enamel pins are gold. Right, they're gold. They've got, like, you see how gold that is? It's shiny, it's a metal, or silver, or black, right? So this one is actually gold enamel. There we go, you can see it there. You can get other colors that aren't that metal. So for these two, their color is actually this green, right? This deep green that I've had be the line art, right? To do that, though, since it's not metal, it's colored metal. You can't do hard enamel like you would on that because that's enamel that goes up to the metal. This has to be soft enamel because it can't go up to the top, otherwise the color on the metal actually gets scratched off. So what they have to do to make it look hard enamel, and I can say it's hard enamel just because it looks it and it's flush, is they have to put a resin dome over it. So they do the same process as soft enamel for these, but because it's got the custom color, I have to do a resin dome over it to make it actually flush, so there's no indents in it, and it looks hard enamel. There are no shadows that like soft enamel has. So you can Google the difference between soft and hard enamel if you want better, more comprehensive examples of it, but yeah. But I cannot make them at home. If I could make them at home, I would love to. But yeah, they're more expensive too to make. Honestly, our button maker we got, how much was this new one? We have two. Our old one's kind of shit. Gabe?
What was it?
How much is was our new button maker?
It's like
200? So the button maker was 200, and it came with a bunch of backs and such. I also got, I'm looking around, but I don't think I have anything near me. I have magnet backs for the buttons too. So on my Patreon, for my Curious Collector tier, I give either buttons or magnets, depending on whatever the patron wants. They can, get them for their fridge or get buttons for their purse or something, backpack, what have you. So what's cool is you can get all that on the site that I got my button maker. So one night every month I'm sitting there just making buttons and magnets. But the other thing is, at cons and such, you can't charge as much for buttons as you can for enamel pins. Like, since my enamel pins are actually pretty big, like, this guy's pretty big. He's kind of chunky, hefty, right? I can charge 15, or a lot of people I know charge 20 for this size. Because for me to make 100 of these was like, or did I get 200? Depending on how many you get, it could be $200 to $500. And then you sell them for, $15 and that sort of thing. But buttons are like $1 when you sell them, like, since they're mainly just plastic and metal. But yeah, anyway, back to this. So these are gonna look like this, because all the black, when you make an enamel pin, all the black actually turns into that color or that metal that you were wanting for it. So these are actually going to be gold. I chose gold for them, so hopefully they're the right gold. Here, I'm just going to do this to save time. And then let's do this. Okay. Alright, so we've got that. This really rough and dirty job here, but you'll get the idea in a second. Okay, so let's say these are gold, right? And I've got them, shit. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna be selling these where this is like the little teacup and this is the teapot. And you can actually, if you're not really savvy with jewelry, they can do this for you, but since I make my own jewelry, I know how to do this, so I told them not to do it because I'm gonna do it. But you can get chains. So I'm gonna have a chain of, that connects these. So when you're wearing them, you'll have this cute little chain, that does this. So you can have them like however you want on your shirt. And the gold will be a good bit darker than this, but I don't know. The hardest thing about doing pins is you really don't know how they're going to turn out until you get them. Honestly, both my clover pip and my thistle, these are not the colors I gave them. But they're not so bad that I won't sell them, if that makes sense. So, reserve one for you. Yay! I'm glad to hear you at least like them, Serenity, because this one was one of those ones I was kind of scared of doing, just because like the last non-character pin I did was technically the Journey June scroll, but I felt like that was kind of a duh to do. But like the lily pad, I felt was pretty safe. And what's really weird is these are new lily pads I got done by this new place I'm going through. And I gave them the exact same color swatches to use, the exact same Pantone colors, which shouldn't differ at all. They're all using the same coated Pantone colors. And it somehow it still turned out different than the past one. So I don't even know what that's about. Really? Oh, Serenity. That makes me so happy. I'm so glad you like it. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy you enjoy my pins. They're fun to make. And honestly, once you start making them, you know, as an artist and selling them, they feel really like legit merchandise. I feel like they're a completely different experience than, say, selling, you know, the buttons or stickers. Like, they feel very, very different. I mean, you'd agree with that, right, Gabe?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know what it is about them, but they do feel different. Let's do this. Actually, I think I'm gonna go... I like these candles better, so I'm gonna go steal these candles. Yeah, and that's honestly the hardest thing, Serenity. Is making sure, like, Gabe still even has trouble with this. Making a design that, you know, you believe in enough to sell well. I mean, Gabe, you'd agree that's tough, right? Yeah. I mean, you're nervous, that, you know. That's why, for me, in doing these pip pins, the pips, I've actually at least kind of already gauged how well they would do because I do them for, you know, the Curious Collector tier on my Patreon, so I get feedback about them. So sometimes they're like a trial run of would these be good to do, which is really nice. I feel pretty smart about that. But, you know, for the Journey June one, I did that just because, I don't know, I felt like that challenge needed some merch. And people, when I, you know, tell them about them at cons, they think it's really cool. They think it's just a scroll pin, and then I explain what the actual challenge is, and they seem to perk up a lot more about it, so that's cool. Sometimes it sells itself, but... Yeah, and that's the tough part, is a lot of the time you need to buy in bulk because you can't buy them in small runs. So it's absolutely a risk. 100%. 100% a risk. And it's scary, like I said, especially if you spend $500 and like they don't look as good as you want or something, or the colors are really off. You know, I was super scared about the Thistle Pip. I was like, these are not the colors I wanted. But a lot of the time people won't know the colors that you chose. And as long as they don't look really wrong, it's okay. You know, it's kind of like when you do prints, but on a mega super high stressful level. Because prints usually differ too, a little bit from, you know, your digital version. Because they're using, you know, CMYK and all this crap. So you kind of get used to it, I guess, from that, and then just kind of hoping your pins are sellable. And this round was interesting because I found out how to put my name on the back stamp of them. So now I've got this thing where some of my pins have a back stamp, some don't. But it's like 30 extra bucks when you do a run. And I think it's worth it because I've even had times where somebody's like, hey, you know, where'd you get that pen? And you just look at it and you're like, I don't remember. So getting the back stamp on the back of it, you could at least turn it around and be like, oh, this is from Cloverkin. So it's like, it's pretty helpful, at least for marketing. Right now, pins are super in at cons. There are pin people that just go around like collecting at cons. I don't know how much longer they'll be in, but they are pretty sought out. Like, people love enamel pins. I feel like that's just something that's going to be around for a little bit. But they sell pretty well depending on what you're doing. I feel like it's tough because I feel cute things sell really well, but also serious ones. I don't know. Gabe, what would you say?
It sucks.
Gabe thinks it sucks.
It sucks because you don't know who's going to buy what.
And it kind of depends on the cons you frequent. Like, I feel like Gabe's pen does really well in certain places and then just kind of meh other places. Like at a zine fest or even at a pen show, I feel like he'd probably do really well with that pen because it's about, you know, being into pens. But like at a con, I think I sold maybe 2 or 3, Gabe. I forgot to tell you that.
What?
I sold a couple of your pen, and it was mainly to writers.
No.
Yeah. So, you know, there is a specific demographic for a pen you might make. And, I mean, it's good to know that ahead of time and to kind of plan for that. So, like, the pips, for me, it's, you know, they're cute enough where they can sell almost anywhere. But the Journey June pin, that's more of a risk. And then my lily pad pin, that seems to be a hit with older ladies and moms, which a lot of my stuff actually older ladies and moms. But oh, I'm zoning out. I should pay more attention to what I'm doing. But I did basically run out of my lily pad because I was selling it alone and with Grigor because it was made because of Grigor. So that one I do sell out of. But it took me a year maybe to sell out of it. I also don't pimp my stuff probably as much as I should. Yeah, the lily pad is a nice kind of, it's a bold little subtle statement, if that can be used at the same time. It's bold and subtle. It's very, like, the silhouette of it's bold, but, you know, the colors are soft. So I feel like it's a confident pen, you know? Hi, Connor. How are you? So I think I lucked out with that pin because it is technically my first pin. I'm gonna bring these down here now. Remind me of how you found me, Connor.
Is that Connor Hughes?
No.
No.
Connor Cantrell.
Oh, I don't know him.
Done with the school semester. Hey man, that's good. Oh my god. Gabe, you gotta watch Butters. She's like hyperventilating. She's too warm. She's really bad at regulating her heat. Maybe take her out real quick. Let's just throw her outside.
Come on, let's go back.
You have a big dumb brain? I also have a big dumb brain. Because I can't remember either.
Butters.
When did I see you?
Butters, come. Butters.
I'm gonna flip this. Because I want this to be about the same shape, same, you know, orientation and everything, but I'm gonna change a couple things.
Butters, come.
So it at least looks different enough. She might not be able to hear you. She is deaf, basically. Poor Butters. Okay, so I'm gonna change a couple of these things. Actually, Connor, if you tell me how long ago, I might be able to guess what convention it was. I'm guessing you're here because of a convention, yeah? Oh, really? Oh, it's okay, so it's just from Twitch. Then in that case, I have no idea. I was gonna say, if it's from a convention, I could probably guess, but like if you tell me when it was. But if it's from, oh, maybe it's from Steve. Steve raids me a lot. God, that sounds bad. Steve raids me. Ooh. They're pretty cool, depending on what you're into. They're not for everybody, but for me, it's kind of necessary because I do them sort of for work. Kind of my on and off job. 6 months. I only really get rated by like 2 or 3 people normally. There's Way to Cuff, Steve Sketches, Nano Jade sometimes. Maybe it was a random one, honestly. I don't know. Okay, see? Changed it enough. It looks like a different candle. Good enough. Let's do that. Well, either way, Connor, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining. There we go. Yeah, completely different now. We'll leave that there. Do I want to put a ribbon on it? No, I don't think it needs it. Tonight I am making Yule stickers for my Patreon folks. The ones at the Curious Collector level, every month they get some stickers, and they get their Curious Collector. So right now I'm just doing the line work, but oh yeah, let's do this fatty bumper. Oh goodness, yes. How about you, Connor? What are you up to? It's so true, Serenity. Yeah, I think the thing told me this was like, was it 23 months of being subbed? Something like that? God, I can't remember now. Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't want to add to the onslaught of Christmas merchandise, so I feel more drawn to Yule symbolism and more nature-based imagery than just Christmas trees, Christmas ornaments, you know, Christmas drinks. I'm like, I would rather do like pine needles, pine cones, mistletoe. This is actually what mistletoe looks like. You guys should totally Google mistletoe. What you have in your head of it and how it looks, I assure you, it's probably like 80% wrong. It's actually white too. Like, what is that? It's weird. Oh, awesome, Connor. Editing photos and videos. Is that what you do for your job? Normally? Isn't that the craziest thing, Siri? It's white. I'm glad too. Honestly, that's on me too. If I wanted to change that, I could. But if I go any smaller, no one seems to be able to read their stuff, so. Especially people on mobile. So I try to keep it as big as I can. Okay, oh, let's do this horn. Yeah. So when making stickers and kind of merch like this, I'd say it's actually kind of smart to reuse elements so that they're at least consistent. That's important when making products that are kind of on the same item, I guess. So I'm gonna take the pine cone I was using over there. It'll feel more cohesive as a product if you reuse it. Similar to what I was doing over here with these candles. Since I wanted the same exact angle for this one that I had over here, and like the same height and everything, I basically wanted to copy it, So I copied, pasted, flipped, and then altered the wax a little bit and the flame so it looks like a different candle, but it was essentially the same candle. So, and I had done 2 pine cones here, but you know, I think I just want to do 1. I think I might just do 1 pine cone. Oh, that's awesome. Good for you, Connor. Weddings pay a lot. They can be a pain in the ass to work with, but they do pay. So that can be nice. Bruni.
Bruni. No.
Do you have any tight deadlines because it's around Christmas?
Bruni.
Oh, thank you. One of my dogs is trying to play with the other dog. The other dog's older. She doesn't want to get played with. Uh-oh. It's gotta save. Is that burning smell outside? Gabe?
What?
It smells like fire.
What?
Is that burning smell outside?
Yeah.
Ooh. That's very pungent. There we go. Damn, that is so close. There we go. Nope, we do not, do we? Luckily, I just finished my holiday rushes and got those out in the mail, so I really do not like cutting it too close. Like, you know, if it's close to the 20th and I haven't gotten things out in the mail, that makes me so nervous. So I try to get them out, you know, when December's still in the teens. Is she chasing her?
Bruni.
Butters, you poor thing. You want to come back up? You cooled off? You went outside? Okay, come here, honey. Rooney, leave her alone. You guys see Butters? There's a happy girl. Aren't you happy? You getting chased by the bulldog? Hmm? Oh, did you drink water? Did you drink some water? You're all wet. She sits on my lap like a cat. She's an older lady, so she usually does it for hours. Bernie, go bug Papa.
Bruni, come here.
Did she go out? You could probably let her out and she'd probably stay out for a little bit. She's just picking on the little dogs. If you see my pen jolt across the screen, it's probably because Bruni just kicked me. Bruni, get out of there. Oh my god, Butters, your breath smells so bad.
Bruni.
She's crawling under my legs.
Chicken?
Are you giving her chicken?
No.
Jerky?
No.
Okay. I was gonna say, don't give her the jerky. Our bulldog's so dumb sometimes. I've had to save her choking more times than I'd like to admit. You have to be very careful with how big chunks are that you give them, because their eyes are bigger than their stomachs. And they think they can chew something fully, and they cannot. Like even a strawberry. You'd think they'd be able to handle a strawberry, but they cannot. What are you working on now, Gabe? Are you gonna work on kaiju soon? Oh, thank you. Thank you. You didn't have to kiss me. My hand's just there because that's where the keyboard is. I honestly thought I'd be able to ink these quicker. Oh, Butters, honey, you don't have to do that. Thank you. It's very sweet. Remember that candle store we went to that was a total letdown?
In Indiana?
No, it wasn't in Wisconsin?
No.
No way.
There was a giant candle?
Yeah, that was not in Indiana.
Off the side of the road?
That was not in
That
Indiana.
was Indiana.
No, it was not.
Yes.
What was it called?
I don't remember.
Go find it. It was not in Indiana. I think it was on the border of Wisconsin.
No, it was between Indiana and Illinois.
No way. Really? What was it called though?
Warm Glow Candle Company.
Oh. Honestly, if it were up to me, Serenity, we wouldn't celebrate Christmas, but I don't even think it is celebrating Christmas. Like, we're not religious in any sense. But we do it when we get together with Gabe's family because that's just what you do. You know, tradition, whatever. So we go to Gabe's parents' house and we've got Secret Santa that we pulled names for because there's like 8 of us. So 7 of us. And we'll just do that and have dinner. Honestly, it's a lot like when I grew up. My dad, actually most of my family was atheist. My mom is agnostic, but we still got together for Christmas. We still ate, we still gave gifts, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, we don't really do too much. Well, now I don't even see my family, so I see, like, Gabe's family is more my speed now, so we'll just do that thing. Otherwise, let's see. Is she barking already? Thank God, Bernie. Though we did want to make a Christmas card this year, and I think we still will. It's just going to be a little bit later in the month. We wanted to get one with the dogs because we adopted Butters this year, but I don't know how long she's going to be around. She is an older dog, so I think it'd be nice to at least get a picture with her in it, so we've got all 3 dogs in the same pic. I'm a little sad. I would have wanted to put the hamster in that we had, but he actually passed away in June or July, somewhere in there. But yeah, I think we'll make a Christmas card because that's just fun. What about you, Serenity? How are you gonna do it? I don't know if we're gonna do The quick draw for Christmas? I think we'll only do quick draw for New Year's. Gabe, what do you think? New Year's quick draw?
Yeah,
I think it'd be... I mean, maybe if we get back from dinner with his family, we can do the quick draw for Christmas, but I would bank on us just doing it for New Year's. Girl, you're gonna get destroyed before we're gonna mess you up. I celebrate Christmas by going to work. I actually did that for a majority of my my teenage years because I was getting triple. And at the time, me and my family would rather get triple pay than just sit around watching TV together. So that was a way better situation. I mean, I was, let's see, it was between the time I was 15 or 16 through 21, somewhere in there. So getting triple pay during those years of my life was like crucial. So everybody seemed to be alright with that. No one seemed to have a problem with it. So honestly, Serenity, if I had a job where I was getting extra money, I'd be doing it too. But being freelance, you don't get extra working holidays. You just are working holidays. Oh, really? No extra pay? For us, it depends on where you are, but I remember where I was working, Christmas Eve pay started like midday. Because if anybody here celebrated it, it would be at night. So, like if I worked the day shift, I wouldn't get any extra pay, but if I worked at night, I would have. Gabe, are you getting hungry?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want?
I'm not sure.
You don't even care anymore. Yeah. And I mean, I think people should just be a little bit more lenient about it. Like, if your family gets mad at you for skipping Christmas because you're working, I don't think they should be mad at you because, like, what if you need the money? You know? I don't know. I remember what we did is when majority of my family was working on Christmas, we would just do it like, you know, the 27th, 28th, 29th, somewhere in there, because everybody in the family wanted to get extra pay. So why would you miss that? And then we'd just do it a different day, because to us the day wasn't important. You know, just as long as we designated some time during the year to see each other. Which I feel like is, you know, the idea. I mean, it's not like that's really Jesus' birthday anyway, you know? Yeah, that works. That's a nice little circle. I'm into it. This is a cardinal, by the way. I don't know if that's obvious or not. Will be once I get his colors in. So do you usually get the people coming in that don't want to make their own Christmas dinners and such? Alright, so how many I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shoot. You know, maybe I should just add the bells to another one. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I've got 10 right now, not counting this one that I screwed up on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna Frankenstein one, because I like the bell idea, and I've already got a bell. So I'm gonna add this bell that I actually really like onto this other bell, and then I'll keep the number to 10, which is nice. It's a nice round number. I'm surprised you haven't taken her into the game room. There we go. Oh, thanks, Alex. Here, I think you missed the tail end of the other thing. So this is the pin setup. So on the back of the pins, you know, the pin on the back there, the pin on the back there. So you can arrange these however you want. If you want one below the other one whatever. But I want it to look like the tea was pouring into the little Maybell cup. Maybells are also Lily of the Valley, just in case nobody knew that. I learned that this year. That was crazy. But I take a chain and I connect the two. So I've been wanting to make one of these interactive ones for a little bit. I figured it'd be cool if it were teacups, or like a tea setup. Sarah! Hi! Thank you! Yeah, so those are actually in production. They actually should be here probably by January or middle of January, somewhere in there. So I ordered them in end of October. I used a Halloween coupon. So because of that, yeah, so that should work out pretty good. It's just pins can be so expensive. Sarah, do you stream now? Yeah, I really like the pins with chains, but I wanted to find my own voice with it, because a lot of people use them just to dangle like little things off of, but I wanted them to actually interact with each other. There's this other person that was doing the attachment thing, and they did a little like body. So they had jump rings, which are the very basic jewelry connector for anything, any jewelry you've got. There are jump rings that basically take and connect either jewelry pieces to other jewelry pieces to chains, jewelry pieces to backings, things like that. They're the main transition piece, right? So this person had, I can draw it. Ashley, you have the ability. So they had like a body, right? And they had a head, they had limbs, right? But the limbs were pretty close to the body because they had a jump ring that connected them. So each one of these is a pin, though. They have a pin back on it, yeah? So when you do that, you can actually take this thing, and if you put it on, say, a backpack, you can pose it. And I thought that was a really cool idea. And I don't want to steal it from them because I don't know if they thought of it or whatever, but I would want to put my own spin on that. So I'm thinking about it. But the shitty part is about this, so each one of these pins, to get 100 of them, is like 100, 200 bucks. So it sucks. Like, you have to be invested. So were I to do it, I would probably do maybe a bipedal thing or something where it's kind of cute and it's maybe got legs, maybe got a hat, I don't know. Whatever. But I don't know, it's just a cool way to take and make pins interactive, I guess. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I wanted another one that wasn't like a character, you know, because I feel like character pins are for some people, and not everybody, and I've got 2 non-character pins, and now I've got 2 character pins, so it seems like the non-characters typically are a little bit safer, but I don't know. Disregard that. It depends on whatever your demographic is and the con you're going to. But anyway, you guys should follow Sarah. She has an Instagram, and if she says she's gonna stream, she's gonna stream. So follow her on her streams. She does very good work. Let me see if I can get your... Gabe's here too, Sarah. Let's see. It was... Oh, good. It's the same name. So, you guys go give Sarah a follow. That is her art stuff. You're welcome. You pimp your friends, you know? We're all in this together. Sarah, thank you so much again for joining the contest. Seriously. Your entry made me so happy. All the entries did. I was so blown away just that people take time out of their day to draw my OCs. So happy about it. Happier than Bruni sounds. Bruni, you being a butt? Why are you being a butt? Are you tired? Hmm? Are you tired? Whirr. 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 She hates it when I mock her. Thank you. I'm glad you like Gregor. He's a nice guy. He's a good guy. Are you done? You just angry? Why are you so angry? You mad at the world? You need more eye drops. You know, I would say give her some eye drops and some Benadryl.
I'm gonna wait for you.
Why?
I'm gonna put eye drops.
Okay. Well, the Benadryl might be good. Somehow she still reacts to allergies even now. We don't have any snow. If there were snow, I think she'd be better off, but we don't have any right now. No worries, Serenity. You take your time, okay? Especially during the holidays. Now that I've sent out all the holiday commissions, I'm so scared about sending out the prizes that everybody got, even the stickers. It's like I don't want to put extra stress on postal workers if I can help it. So I think I asked the majority of you guys if it was okay if I sent them after Christmas. Because I really, oh man, I don't want them to get lost, and I don't want extra packages floating around if they're not like actually, you know, for Christmas. Let's see. So for those of you I already asked, thank you for being so understanding. Alright. Oh, that's a really bad tangent. Shoot. You know what? I'm gonna break that up. There we go. Much better. So, Serenity, you were saying not to do the quick draws until New Year's? Is that what you were saying? Oh, she's mad.
Bernie, you want Nutter?
Want some Nutter Brewing?
Great.
Oh, thank you. You guys are so great. I wanted to do some ornate stuff on this, but the problem is reduction. Whenever you do either stickers or pins or buttons, you gotta worry about reduction. Luckily, when I was in mobile games, I got very used to that. Doing a lot of iconography, lots of UI design, things like that. Got me pretty used to being like, well, what looks decent when you shrink it? So I think that's important. Quick tip, I'll show you in a second here. When you're working on things that are going to be made small, there's a trick you can do, and I think I've shown majority of you before, but for those that weren't here for it, when you're in Photoshop, and let's say I was working on the tea stuff, right? And I wanted to see how it would look when it's smaller, but not like, and to see like what paint strokes actually made a difference and what would actually muddy it up more. To do that, you go to so window, arrange, and then do new window for your document. Okay, what that's going to do is it's just going to duplicate the window. They're not two different files, they're just the same window. So whatever you do in one window is going to be reflected in the other. So then how you use that is, you know, sometimes I'll shrink it to about the size that, you know, an enamel pin would be, something like that. And now watch. If I'm over here and I'm doing, let's say, shines and, you know, highlights and shadows and stuff, if I do it here, you'll see how it's reflected down there. See that? So I can see what, you know, of my shading actually is impactful and what would actually muddy it up. So, example, this value that I've got here doing the, you know, the shadow might be actually a little too dark there if it were going to be black lined, but it's actually gold lined, so it'd probably be okay. But if it's black lined, that's a little bit too dark. So let's cut that in half again and see how this color goes. A lot better. It looks more like a mid-tone, right? So there's that. Same with this. If you just do a little line there, you can't even see that, right? So either up your opacity or up the area that it's affecting. Much better, see? So this comes in handy a lot of the time if you're doing icons, if you're doing enamel pins, stickers, anything that's going to be small. I would say even at 1 inch, something like that. So hopefully that's kind of helpful. Just remember it's the same file. It's not two different files. She being difficult? Are you trying to do the eye drops?
No.
What are you doing?
Keep her from messing with the eye.
Oh.
Come here.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go here in about 7 minutes. We gotta eat dinner. And Bruni needs her medicine. So. You're welcome. Yeah, it's little things like that. So, I'm pretty, thankful for being in a corporate setting for at least a long time. I was in games for like 10 years. So because of that, I got all these wonderful skills like correspondence, email correspondence, how to conduct yourself in a meeting, how to compose emails properly for professionals, sake. All these program tips too. Smart objects in Photoshop, best thing ever, okay? I don't know if you know about these. This is actually detrimental, I feel, so I'm going to actually take the time to show you this. This will change your entire life. So actually I'll show you. If you're not familiar with smart objects and you make a lot of the same thing on a sheet, this is going to save your life. Now there's a lot of things you can do with smart objects, and the rabbit hole just goes really deep. The more you look into them and the more you use them, you can nest them and it can just get crazy. So when I do my Patreon packs every month, it's really important that I have a very streamlined, slick system where if I need to change one thing, it changes a bunch of things, and that includes the Foley there, that includes Guardian print sheets. So when I make a bunch of buttons, I need to make a bunch of them, and I need to, what I wanted to do was to be able to just go into one, paste the new image in, save it, and have it ripple through everything, right? That's what this does, and that's why this is really nice. The only downside, other than potentially getting lost in your own nesting, is the file size can go up pretty quickly. So, you know, that and vectors, if you use vectors a lot. But for smart objects, you just have to keep an eye on loading time, size, things like that, because you might need to break up the file into different pieces. But once this loads, I'll show you. Oh, Chacho. Okay, let's get rid of that. That's a little bit too busy. So over here, let's get rid of my stupid, yeah, don't move. So I've got the labels here, but I also have my little guys. Okay, so when you see a smart object, and you can't really see it very well because of my jar, but if you can see right here, there's a little tiny square here that's inside of the thumbnail on the layer. And what that is it's telling you it's a smart object. If you hover over it, it says smart object. And a regular layer doesn't have that. So these are saying they're all smart objects, right? And I've got a whole bunch here. So if I go into one of these, okay, just one, and let's say I needed a whole sheet of the woolly bear, right? Save it. They're all woolly bears now. Isn't that nice? So every month what I do then is I will go through, and setting them up is kind of a pain in the butt. But like, let's say I'll make something new here. So if I get rid of that, all right, let's say I've got this big, let's make a red thing. This thing, okay? Whatever, right? So that's the high res. I want to make it into a smart object. So right click on it, say convert to smart object. The nice thing about smart objects too is, unlike a raster image, it's still a raster image, but the nice thing is it retains the high res like image of it. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute, but you can size it really far down and, you know, commit to that, and then it'll be small, but then you can size it back up, and you can go back up to 100% and not lose any like image quality, or you won't get artifacting and stuff. So if I take this now, and let's say I wanted to make a bunch, like a sheet of them, right? So I've got this, I put it here, and let's say I wanted 4 across. So I just duplicated 4, move one over here, and then distribute them using this. This is a nice thing here. Use that. Equally puts them, you know, next to each other. And if I wanted to go down with all these, I could nest them inside another smart object, but I'm not going to do that right now. Instead, since I don't really need them exactly equidistant, I'm just going to do this. Okay, so now let's say those are all my smart objects, right? And I can go into any one of these and it goes to the same parent. So these are technically what are known as instances, okay? Instances are basically a link straight to the parent. So you've got the parent and then you've got the instances, and if you open any one of those, it goes back to the parent, right? So if I added anything, I could paint things in here, I could add more smart objects, but if I do that and I save it, it ripples through all of them, okay? Now, once in a while, you'll want to take the smart object you have, but create another one, but not, like, because the problem is you can't just duplicate it, because it's still the same smart object if you wanted to change it, right? So you actually have to right click on it and say new smart object via copy. And then you have to be sure you're keeping very good track of your layer names, right? So it looks the same, but if I change this one now, it just changes that one. and then that's a whole new smart object that retained the information from the previous smart object that you can use again. And then you have it start all over and whatever. But smart objects can be crazy good. They're really nice for text, because if you're me and you're using like this Guardian's gift, which I just want to be able to change one, and have it ripple through all of them. So if I go in there and I change something in here, blah, and I save it, it'll ripple through them all. So that makes my life really easy, and I like that. So, smart objects! Yeah! So I feel like smart objects and that window tool are pretty helpful. Right? The distribute button, you can do it vertically and you can do it horizontally. It's phenomenal. I had to use it all the time when I was making like match 3 games. It was crazy. But yeah, Photoshop has all these things in it that are very specific and particular to a certain job. So if you never have to do this sort of job, you would never even know, you needed them. But if you ever find something that you're like, man, I really need to do this right now. I wonder if Photoshop has this capability. Seriously, just Google it real quick, because I'll guarantee you it probably does. The only thing Photoshop does not have that I'm still pissed about 20 years later, because I got Photoshop basically when I was 12, they have never made like a guide system where you can change colors of guides, that you can put guides into folders, or have guides for specific things but not other things. Drives me crazy. I want to be able to label my guides. I want them to be different stroke widths. I want them to have different, patterns on them, like dashed and all that stuff. You guys, how long has it been? How long has Photoshop existed? And you can't even mess with the guides for me? Please. Please. You can't even get your stabilizer right. That's why I'm using Paint Shop Pro, or whatever the crap it is. Clip Studio Paint. Paint Shop Pro is the PC version. Clip Studio. Because of the fucking stabilizer. Because Photoshop can't handle it. What's with that? What's with that? Guide Adobe in the right direction. I did! I actually wrote them, when I was 14. Some crap like that when I wasn't even, out of high school. I wrote them a thing like, hey, can you guys change the guide colors for me? Cool. I never got a response. But it's they know. They know. At this point, I've seen so many people, complain about it. It's oh my god. Alex, you should write something too. Let's all attack them about guides. Right? I still have the Photo Deluxe, when Adobe was Photo Deluxe. Look that up. That's funny. It was meant for altering photos. I don't remember what year that was, but I know it was called Photo Deluxe and not Photoshop. It was Photo Deluxe. I still, like I said, I still have the install disc somewhere. I don't know why I kept all those. Does anybody else get nostalgic over having a program CD? I think I still have the first Adobe Suite I bought that had all the programs in it, and I bought it for over $1,000, and I think it was during college because I got a deal. But it's when you spend that much on something, you don't want to throw it away. So I feel dumb about it, but still. No, Photoshop doesn't have that, but I know what you're talking about. It's kind of not tessellations, but it's a mirror, right? Where you're drawing on one thing and it happens on the other. You could technically set that up with a smart object, but it wouldn't be live time. So if you were gonna do that, you would do it like this. So let's say I wanted to draw something that was perfect on both sides, that I didn't have to redraw it, or whatever, and I could change it whenever I wanted. Let's say we do that. So how I usually do my guides, bastards, is because of this. So it snaps to the middle, so that's the middle, whatever, sort of. And then let's say I want to go up to the middle line, right? Let's say I got this. Maybe it's a cute little critter. whatever. It's not going to be very on brand. There you go. Alright, so then you would change that into a smart object. If my thing will work here. So convert to smart object. Then you duplicate that smart object. My fucking mouse is dying. Holy crap. Yeah, my mouse is dying. I'll use my pen. And then you're going to want to snap that to the middle. Have it like that. And then whatever you do to this one is going to do it on the other one. Alright. So, oh my god, come on. Rosy cheeks. Boom. So, like I said, it's not a lifetime, but, you know. Like AOL. Oh, AOL. I learned a lot about the internet through AOL. Good and the bad. Okay. Like I said, I'm probably gonna go soon now, so if anybody has any questions on anything we talked about, whether it be enamel pins or smart objects or what have you, I am an open book. You can probably hear my goblin in the background. That's Bruni. Gabe's playing with Bruni. She's being indignant. Doesn't she sound like a monster? Most of the time I really like it. Alright, so I don't know if I'm gonna stick with this leaf. I don't know what its deal is. I don't know what its story is. I don't know if I like it. We'll see. We'll see. Usually I like to make some stuff and then sit on it for a bit and see what of it I still like. Maybe I'll still want to do this guy. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It's starting to not fit the motif. Seems like my motif is a lot of pine needles, pine cones, leaves, some candles. This one was bells and weave. I didn't do many things with the weave. And these are really high quality, like high res. So if I decided to actually make like this one, make this one really big, and then make something else really small, I might make this Yule goat bigger too, since it's pretty dense with line work. So maybe I'll do that. Roll her on her back. You know she likes belly rubs. She is a goblin. She's hardcore a goblin. Okay. Well, if nobody has any more questions. What day is it? I should be able to stream next week. I'm not... No more cons or anything this year, so... I might actually stream tomorrow, too, because I gotta color these. So I might just do an impromptu stream tomorrow where I'm just coloring these. I want to get them done this weekend if I can, so I can get them out for people, for my patrons. But if you like them, you get them for free with the Curious Collector tier, which is basically like if Studio Ghibli and Pokemon and Zoo Books had a baby. If you like any or all of those things, you might enjoy this. I'll show you real quick. Patreon update I did today. Give you a little sneak peek at it. It's only 4 patrons, but I'm above patrons, so I can show you still. She's so gurgly. Of course I have 2-factor authentication, which takes a while. Alright, so show you real quick. Here is my Patreon. Ah! posts. Published. So this is the one I did today. Or who else said stuff? Oh no. Okay, so you get digital rewards and such if you're on at least $1 tier, but this is the Sapin. He's like the Foley down here, which I have to change this. I forgot to change it. But this was November's, was the Foley, this guy down here. And he's kind of a drunk, to say so, but take her in the other room. And then the sap in here is what's for December. And then here was kind of a shot of the stickers before I started working on them. Here's some info on the Thistle Pit, the device rewards. The digital rewards were this. The calendar here is a colorable calendar I give out. So it's a calendar and it's colorable. Whoa, 2 things at once. And then the device wallpaper is this house. So you get those things every month for just $1. But I also have past Mythical Monthly Guardians that you can get, which you get all this stuff for most of them in there up here. So those are on my website, cloverkin.com. But if you're interested in this guy, you want to get on the Curious Collector tier. It's pretty fun. It's a good time. Now, let's see. Get some caffeine. I should, maybe a little bit. I don't know, I've been drinking water like crazy. It's good for your skin. Alright, I will probably be streaming tomorrow. Don't hold me to that, but I do need to color these, and it's pretty, I don't know, monotonous, so I'll just probably do it. And I'll probably be doing like a digital watercolor style for them, so if you guys see a notification for that go up, it'll probably be later in the day, probably not as late as today, but maybe like mid-afternoon if I do it. So anyway, I hope you guys have a good weekend. If I don't see you tomorrow, try to stay sane. I know it's holiday times, but you know, rest yourself, treat yourself well, treat others well, just be happy. I mean, I know it's hard and the world sucks, but make someone's day. It's a nice little blip in your happy meter if you make someone else's day. Alright, thanks for being here, thanks for seeing me, thanks for talking to me, thanks for keeping me company. I hope I helped, at least with the Photoshop stuff. So, see you later, alright? Bye!